Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Place $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Kosei Huja, listening, keeping strong style.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in Barrio the Frogs. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with the young boy Josh Smith. On today's show, we'll review nights 1 and 2 of the Road to the New Beginning and cover all latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping a Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You'll talk all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Chop Tea store, chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style merchandise. There's free shipping on every order and 10% off your first order. Chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP subscribers. If you want access to the weekly live stream, ad-free audio, and bonus content, you can subscribe at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Young boy, thank you for holding down the fort last week. That was a great solo episode.
Yeah, the show didn't burn down.
Yeah, well, I didn't expect it to.
You never know. When it comes to me and it comes to the podcast and trying to get this shit uploaded, like, it's amazing because I've done it several times now. Well, I mean, I've done the part where I just talk into the mic, but, you know, I've gotten the raw audio files and everything over to Rich. But every time I forget how I fucking did it the last time before. So like, the next day I'm like scrambling, trying to remember like how the fuck do I get something? And then I always do the same shit. I always try to email it and it's too big. And then I try to like put it in a messenger and it's too big. And I'm like, how the fuck did I do that? And then eventually I remember like, oh yeah, Google Drive. But even with that, like I don't know. We get it done though. Yeah. I listen to the show. I don't usually listen to the audio back, but I thought I'd give myself like a solid 3.75, you know?
No, it was better than that.
I thought it was, that's fine. Some of those listeners' questions, I was like going through them, and I appreciate the listeners' questions, but I was like, damn, there's a lot of questions we haven't gotten to in several weeks, and they're asking me about, insights. And they want me to have these deep, breakdowns. I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
They want to hear your ratings, takes, and opinions.
They didn't want the rate. No, that's easy. I can give you the ratings, takes, and opinions. They wanted fantasy booking. You know what I'm saying? And character insights. I'm not here for all that.
It's a wrong podcast for character insights.
I was thinking about it earlier today, Jeremy, and like, I don't want to say we don't put ourselves over, because we do, but maybe not as much as we should. But like, we are like the one standing bastion between the freakazoids and the like greater, I don't know what to call them, but like IWC, you know, we stand in the gap and mind everything for these two groups. Cause like, I think we can walk into a room or a chat and hold court with any of the Shinihon freaks and all that. But when they get out of pocket and start going over, like, oh, whoa. Like, you know, we don't want to get with all that. But then with the other side of the aisle, the people are like, oh, this company's dead, blah, blah. They're coming at us with takes from 5 or 6 years ago. We're like, whoa, buddy, you're not watching this shit. You're missing. There's some good shit out there. You know, so we're right there, right in the middle, the hybrid, you know.
We just tell the truth.
Yeah. And we pay attention. We do our best. We try our best. But yeah, how was last week? You did a work trip or some shit?
Yeah. Had our annual staff retreat. And
oh, that's right. They gave you the Flair Thez Award.
That's right. I got the Employee of the Year for 2024. So I got a nice little plaque. They gave me a nice little trophy. So yeah.
What else?
That was it.
Bro, that's bullshit.
I mean, I got a raise and stuff towards the end of last year, but that really had nothing to do with the award. But
no, that's bullshit, bro. If you're the employee of the entire year for the whole company, you need to get something more than just a plaque and a trophy. They need to give you a pay bump. They need to give you a night on the town. You need to get to dress in a tuxedo and ride in a fucking limousine with pizza. Something. Pizza party.
Party.
Something.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to my boss and ask for more.
Yeah, bro. They're fucking working you. It's like when I used to work in sales, you know, you come into the office and I'm like, what are you guys going to pay me? They're like, we pay you with incredible perks. We've got a ping pong table. We've stocked the shelves with granola bars. You can have as many of those as you want. We have incredible culture.
All the perks.
I'm like, all right, well, where's the dental and the health insurance? That's what I want.
Well, I got that. So, but yeah, it was a good trip. We were out in Rome, Georgia. Man, it was cold. As soon as we landed, I messaged Rich. I was like, bro, what is this weather, man? It was in the 20s. And then
what do you mean landed?
When we flew from.
You flew to Georgia?
Yeah.
From here?
Yeah.
Bro, that's real players. They drive to Georgia. It's just one state over.
Well, the flight was paid for, so.
Oh, that's bullshit. I would have told him to send me the money and I'll drive myself there. You know, pop on some Dave, some Conrad. I know how you like to do.
Some Cornet.
Some Cornet.
Oh, man. But yeah, I messaged Rachel. I was like, bro, what is this weather? It was in the 20s. And then the next morning, it was like 18 degrees. Following morning was 13 degrees. I was like.
Was it snowing?
Not where we were at. It snowed. I think it snowed in Atlanta, but we were in Rome, Georgia, and it didn't snow in that area. But man,
you're from Florida, like through and through, though, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, I was born in St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, but moved to Tampa when I was 2. So,
have you been in snow?
I mean, I've seen snow before, but not like a whole ton. One time I was in Indy, I seen snow for an event there.
I couldn't remember if because you and I have traveled so much. I'm like, have we gone anywhere where it snowed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've been to Chicago a couple times, but it wasn't snowing. Went to New York, 2019, didn't snow then.
We're bro. Who knows? You know, January, Tokyo. I'm going. Are you going?
We'll see. I'm working on it.
What do you have to work on? You're the head of the household. You do whatever the fuck you want. What are you talking about?
We'll see. There might be stuff we're working on that could potentially make us have to rearrange some stuff. So we'll see.
All right. Well, you know, if I need to go and just be the delegate for Keeping It Strong Style and Social Suplex, I'll do that. I'll spend my time with Floyd Johnson because I know he's going. So yeah,
he hit me up and was wondering if we were going.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's listening, and we'll figure it out. You know.
Yeah.
Sounds like JCast is going. Also, by the way, shout out to one Damon McDonald for hooking me up. He sent me the remember the hard drive we talked about on the we fucking made it happen. The only thing that sucks is he told me to get a 2 terabyte hard drive, and he was gracious enough to order it for me. I mean, I paid for it all, but he ordered it out of his pocket so that it would come to his house, and then he uploaded all his shit from his hard drive and sent it to me, which was great. But he told me that it only needed to be 2 terabytes, and then he was like, "Yeah, actually, I've got 4 terabytes of stuff, so I have to give you like half of what I got." But luckily, he's like, "You're getting all the New Japan, you're getting all the All Japan, you're getting the best of the territories. You're just not going to get, I'm just not going to get like Portland or 1970s WWF shit like that." Like, but it's like, you're getting all the good stuff, and it arrived in the mail today. I haven't even gotten a chance. Like, bro, I've been slammed. So I literally just like, I got done eating and then I rushed in here to do this shit. So I haven't even looked at it yet, but it's here. And, I haven't even really talked to you about it, but I've got a little Patreon gimmick that I'm, working on, planning to unveil. And I think what he sent me is going to be invaluable to that project. So
nice. Yeah, I heard you mention the Patreon project. I think you told me briefly one time what you were going to do, but yeah,
but I've told you many things in the past that we were going to do, and none of that shit ever happened.
I remember that cage match list you're working on.
I've got that ready to go. Well, the thing is, I was trying to figure out how to monetize. I guess I could probably like do that on our Patreon.
You could, yeah.
I could do whatever the fuck I want on our Patreon, huh?
Yeah. Sky's the limit.
All right. Well, if people want to start going back and watching K1 with me, starting
K1 watch along.
We're gonna watch some Andy Hoog.
Oh man. Well, we're
you want to talk New Japan?
Yeah, let's jump into it. We are on the road to the new beginning. So the first official shows, I know we had the Blue Justice show. Technically it was a road to, but not labeled as a road to. But these were the first 2 officially.
No, trust me, it was a road to.
I watched it. I caught up on everything.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So yeah, it was very road to worthy. But these here, the 2 official road to the new beginning. So night 1, January 22nd, in Corkin Hall. We started off with Tanahashi in his retirement tour, defeating Young Lion Shomakato 8 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yeah. And I think probably to save us some time, we could even lump this in together with the match on the next night where he wrestled. Who was that? Shomakato?
That was night 1. So night 2, he wrestled
Murashima.
Murashima defeated him 8 minutes and 58 seconds.
Yeah, I liked both matches. I love the idea that on the way out, Tanahashi is doing singles matches with all of the established Young Lions that are on the roster right now, which there's just the 3 of them. Or actually there's 4, but Yasuda is injured, right?
Yeah.
So just the 3 that are active. And between the 2 matches, I like the night 1 match better. I thought that it was structured to give a little bit more to Shomakato for some reason, and kind of highlighted him in a way to where he was very resilient and got some very believable near finishes. But both matches, I would say, in my opinion, pretty much at the top of what you're going to expect from Young Lions versus veterans type matches, especially at this level. I don't know that it gets much better than this just in general.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty good. Tanahashi working over the legs of both guys there and setting up for his Texas Clover hold. And man, night 1, Shomakato, he really wrenched that thing back. Super high angle, broke that man in half, got a submission victory. And then same story the next night with Murashima once again working over the legs, applying the Texas Clover hold to get the submission victory here. So, I thought a lot of people saying this was kind of quote unquote heel Tanahashi, and honestly, like, I know sometimes he does kind of wear the black hat in the right situation, but to me, this was just like,
I didn't see it.
Yeah, this was more a veteran Tanahashi. He wasn't overly like aggressive, like playing the heel. He was just the experienced veteran and out wrestling these guys, working over the legs, really grinding them down, testing these guys out, and ultimately submitting them. And so, yeah, I thought he looked pretty good in both these matches.
Yeah, I think he might have leaned in a little bit, put a little spice on the shots, given maybe a notch down from what Tiger Mask does. But, the grizzled veteran trope is definitely enforced. But I I didn't at all pick up on the idea that this was heel Tanahashi, because I know what heel Tanahashi looks like, and that's
we've seen that.
he's playing on these boys. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
hit something and then you toss the shit back, and you know, if Tanahashi wants to work heel, he'll work heel. When he works heel, he's not just landing stuff stiff, but he's also looking back, throwing a quick kick back, you know, just for extra, you know, he just does dick shit. It's great. And he didn't do any of that here.
Yeah, I mean, watch the Kota Ibushi G1 final towards the beginning. He was giving Ibushi some of that. Like, there's some bigger matches where he'll really turn it up, especially when he knows the other guy has a crowd behind him. Yeah, he'll kind of turn it up. Kind of that heel Shawn Michaels, you know, one of his inspirations there, and he'll do some of those kind of little stuff in between. And yeah, he really
even the Stalker Ichikawa match that I just recently reviewed, like that was like peak heel Tanahashi. Him just doing all sorts of great shit. Or if you've ever seen him, I don't know if people have ever caught him in DDT when he went there. That was bad. Like he fucking ate up like Harashima so bad that he had to go back and apologize. Like do an actual real formal apology and do a PowerPoint presentation because he buried the ace of their fucking company so bad.
But yeah, so Ace getting some wins here over the Young Lions. Then after that, on night one, we had House of Torturers, Ren Narita, Sho, Kanemaru, and Yujiro defeating Daiki Nagai, Murashima, Bolton Oleg, and Toru Yano in 9 minutes and 1 second. And so this is continuation of the never-ending feud between Hantai and the House of Torture, building up the never six-man title match that's coming up this week. As the champions, Tanahashi, Bolton, and Yano will defend against 3 of the House of Torture members here. So same old.
House of Torture, they're kind of existing sans Evil at this point, you know, trying to figure out where they fit in the hierarchy of New Japan without their leader. So they're just kind of running through the motions. There's not much here. I noticed that Dick Togo wasn't around either for anything. So I'm like, if Evil's gone, is he pulling a Brock Lesnar? If he's gone, I'm gone.
Maybe.
But you know, there's not a lot for me to dig into here. The one thing that I did pick up on these matches that I thought was pretty cool is just the way that all of these guys, they work speaking of House of Torture, they work their asses off when it comes time to bump and feed for Oleg Bolton. Yeah. Like as soon as Oleg's in the ring, they're fucking flying. They're bumping. They're like, and they try to make him look like $1 million. And so there's definitely like that. You know what it kind of reminds me of? I don't know if you remember this, but like early Evolution Batista, before he was like made, and before him and like Flair had even won the tag team titles, when he was just the Muscle and he was still kind of green, but they were having everybody like make him look awesome. Like they didn't want to put him in there with stars yet, but they wanted him to like eat up the minor competition and kind of be hid within a group. That's sort of what Oleg Bolton is like a little bit right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a great comp there. And yeah, they're doing a lot to really make him look like a big monster and show off his strength. So yeah, Bolton looked really good in this match. Kanemaru ended up getting the Boston Crab submission victory over Daiki Nagai. And once again, these guys are running off the titles that are not theirs. And I'm just like, man, we're still doing the same thing with these guys stealing the titles that are not their titles to build to a title match.
Yeah, I mean, Evil did that to Sonata. Sho did that to who even was it? Despy?
I think so, yeah.
And then now they're doing it with the six mans.
But didn't they already? They did it with the six mans before, I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like they had done it with the six mans like last year.
Yeah,
with the same team.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like the fourth time.
Yeah. So there's that to look forward to later this week. Then following that, we had
here I was talking this bullshit, being like, yeah, for all the people out there that want to dog on New Japan, you don't know what you're talking about. And we're like, these motherfuckers 4 times they've stolen the belts.
It's true. Following that, we had War Dogs team of Clark Connors and Sonata defeating Just 4 Guys team of Taichi and Takamichi Noku. So building up the upcoming Sonata and Taichi matchup here.
Yeah. I'm wondering a little bit if the 1 to 2 month delay on this Sonata Taichi feud didn't perhaps maybe steal some of the deserved juice that it could have had a month ago.
Probably, yeah, because I feel like the turn was pretty hot and people were very invested because we had tons of questions going into Wrestle Kingdom season, like, oh, are these guys going to face off the Dome? Like, what do you want to see with this feud? And then, yeah, also there were bigger matches that got booked, and these guys got put in the Rambo and kind of slowed this thing down. And
I said, that's not for you, baby.
yeah, they really kind of, put things on the back burner here. Now they're heating it back up, and yeah, I feel like it could have been more juice to it had they just kind of followed up with it after the turn, but it was Wrestle Kingdom, and they don't have a spot for those guys on the main card, so it is what it is here.
Yeah, and I also kind of wonder, like, with the whole thing with Sonata being a war dog and the group just kind of being in this kind of transitionary phase right now, coming out of the Dome. We're trying to still somewhat establish like what is the dynamics of this group. It still almost feels like Sonata doesn't really actually fit into that group.
Yeah. I don't like what's happening with the War Dogs. Sonata's apart now, Taiji Ishimori's apart, and I felt like the core guy.
Too many Japanese guys.
Exactly. This group's for the white man.
Was a white man's group,
But seriously, though, I felt like, Finley, Connors, Gabe, Drilla, like, I felt like they all kind of gelled together. They had a lot of chemistry. A lot of those guys came over the LA dojo. Like, I felt like there was a lot that connected those guys together. They felt like comrades, like a team, like for dogs for real, like say. But then you start adding in like Sonata, where like they've had no like history or chemistry with him. Taiji Ishimori, he's kind of been adjacent to them, and so it just kind of feels like they're just becoming Bullet Club again, where War Dogs kind of felt special and different from just Bullet Club.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, honestly, and to be quite frank, I'm kind of okay with Ishimori being there because as strange as it sounds, he does not fit in the House of Torture whatsoever.
Yeah.
Mainly just based on the fact that Kanemaru's over there and like that shit's never going to fly. But he just got to the group. So I'm withholding judgment on making that judgment call saying like, oh, this doesn't work. Like he's teamed with them quite a few times. So, I'm willing to give him the pass there, but like Sonata, and I know I hate that we're ragging on Sonata again. I do like the new coat of paint. I think the shirt he's been wearing with the fuck just 4 guys or whatever is kind of fucking funny, but it's still just fucking Sonata. And there's no connective tissue as to how he fits in this group or why he's part of this group or what the connection is. So, I guess on the one hand, it is good that we're going back to this feud with him and Taichi and kind of paying that off. But then I'm looking down the line. I'm like, where is this going? Like, what's the end game here? Like, are we still investing in Sonata? Like, is that what we want to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get past, an upper mid-card status. He's going to be, I feel he's going to be a challenger of the month kind of guy. And I really don't see much for him in the future.
Yeah, I would have sold that stock last January, and they're trying to pick it back up. I'm like, why? Not paying any dividends.
Yeah,
there's no income coming from that.
This is losing money.
Been plummeting. Yeah, whatever. You think it's coming back up? I don't think it is.
No. So Chase gets the win for the team here. No chaser on Taka Michinoku. Then following that, we had Wato, Chota Umino, and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the United Empire team of Francisco Akira, Great Okan, and Jacob Austin Young. So building up that Chota Umino and Great Okan feud. But we've got also a little like mini feud going on now between Ishii and Francesco Akira. It's been a lot of fun.
I think that's been the standout in these matches. is Ishii and Francesco Akira and the interactions between them. And it's sort of like neither of those guys have anything going on, but they just happen to be the two best workers on their respective teams.
Yeah.
So they can't help but just show out. And, I'm just going to say it again, like Junior Ishii, I don't know why we can't fucking have it. Like, he's not that much bigger than Francesco Akira, who he himself is not necessarily the biggest junior in the world. So, somebody that's listening, I don't know who you are, but someone from the office, Chris Charlton, whoever, Rocky, I don't know. Someone fucking make the call and let's get Ishii, if he's got to cut a couple pounds so that he can get on that scale come May for Super Juniors, let's fucking make that happen.
Bro, that would be just an incredible run of matches. Ishii just destroying his block, just like Shingo did in 2019.
Yeah, except he wins.
I mean, he actually probably could win that. They would let him win that one. But yeah, him and Akira, really great exchange here, and Akira wanting a challenge, and Ishii, bring the fire to him there. So yeah, good stuff there. And then towards the end, Wato was able to hit his big German suplex onto Jacob Austin Young to get the win here. And then I'm not necessarily overly enthused, and I hate to say this, but I'm not overly enthused with the Jacob Austin Young experiment so far. He's kind of just a guy that's just there, and there's not much to differentiate or make him stand out within that group or within New Japan. And I'm still kind of wondering, like, and I don't mean to be a hater, but I'm like, considering all the talent has ever come through Strong, how is this the guy that got signed up into the group and that is being flown out? And what's the fucking deal there? Like, yeah,
we couldn't get filthy here,
right? Like, where's Bad Dude Tito?
Yeah, where's Bad Dude Tito? Where's Filthy Tom Lawler?
Where's Adrian Quest, Young Fuego?
No, we don't need to spend the money on it. That's okay, but and
here's the thing: like Jacob Austin Young, I think he's very good, but I don't feel like he has done anything to stand out. Like, he's a junior in that group, and when we see top junior guys that have come in New Japan over the years, I've seen your Will Ospreay, Shirabi Eagles, guys like that, El Phantasmo. Like, usually when they come in, like night one, they're doing all the cool stuff, they're getting over, and it's like you can see why they were brought over and they make an impact and become big stars. And for JAY, I'm just like, I mean, yeah, he's fine worker, nothing wrong, but I'm like, he has not done anything in the few months he's been a full-time roster member to make me be like, oh man, he's special, that's why he's here.
Yeah, I agree. And then this feud that's kind of ongoing between Great O'Khan and what's wrong with
Umino
and Shota Umino. It's sort of, on the one hand, like for Shota Umino, it's the rebound, right? He suffered the big loss. He needs to kind of have a pick me up. And I kind of feel bad that it's at the expense of Great O'Khan, because if you think about it, like, O'Khan was a belt holder coming out of 2024 and, was kind of forced to have to, I mean, even though in kayfabe he did it willingly, like, from a judgment standpoint, he was forced to vacate the belt. And you would have almost kind of thought back then that with him being the last title challenge or holder and the guy that was setting the stipulation for the Rambo, that he would probably be the most likely benefactor of that, like the person that picks up the win in that match and becomes the number one, the February title defense. And instead, like, he's having to pick up the pieces for Shota Umino's failure in the Dome, and he's going to have to job to the guy, So, yeah, it's kind of, if you're a Great O'Khan fan, I can imagine you probably are a little bit frustrated at this point because all the pushes and everything that seemed to be promised back when have never really come to fruition. And now he's trying to salvage a guy that shit the bed in the Dome. And I've seen different people try to be as nice about it and as diplomatic and, emblematic as possible. But the reality is This guy failed. Point blank, he shit the bed. And now Great Okan's going to have to do a job.
Yeah. I have been liking some of the stuff Okan's been doing. So on this night, he went out in the crowd. He grabbed a light stick from a little girl, and he was like breaking it, which caused Umino to chase him and get some revenge.
Give it
there.
back to the child.
Yeah. Then on night 2, he grabbed one of the Umino towels, and he was cutting it and ripping it apart. So, he's doing a lot of stuff to antagonize the Umino fans and Umino and get heat there. So he's doing good stuff. So following that, we had the team of TMD. Actually, nope. Wait, hold on here.
Yes, their name is TMDK. That's the name of the team.
So I skipped them. I thought I skipped something, but I did not. Okay, so TMDK, yes, Hartley Jackson, Robbie Eagles, and Rhea Oiwa. They defeated the Chaos team of Yo, Yoshihashi, and Tomioka Hanma in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. So let's setting up the junior tag match with Eagles and Vegeta against Yo and Rocky.
And also served as a preview for the main event of the next evening's Corkin Hall between Yoshihashi and Oiwa. Not that I've ever been down on the guy, but since he first came in, I thought there was a lot of upside. But the more and more I'm seeing of him, the more and more I'm coming on. I'm jumping on the train, and like I might be a Hartley Jackson guy.
Yeah, he's been starting to win me over as well. I'm not really familiar with him previously. I know he's a long-standing member of TMDK, but yeah, big, wide bruiser dude throwing people around, big lariats, big slams. I'm like, okay, this is a nice addition to the Never division here.
Did you like my my analogy that last week where I said he might be the new Fale?
Yeah, he's gonna be way better than Fale, but I would gladly take him in a role like that where he's a big bruiser that guys are trying to have to overcome.
Hey, Fale had an IC title run.
Yeah,
people forget about that shit.
Yeah, big main event of Nakamura. I believe it was the new beginning, right?
He main evented Nakamura, he main evented Tanahashi, he main evented Okada. I don't see why Hartley Jackson couldn't be that guy. There's a job to do. He could do it.
Yeah.
Give him a finish like the Bad Luck Fall. He can beat anybody on any given night. No?
Yeah.
There's no reason. Yeah. I like what they're doing here. I don't know if you noticed towards the tail end of this match, Oiwa just fucking potatoed the shit out of Hanma and bust his fucking eye wide open.
Yeah, definitely laying it in there.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake, but yeah, he gave him a clothesline or something, a forearm, and I saw him just fucking clock him right in the eye. And then when you saw him come up, there's the blood trickling down his face. I'm like, oh yeah, he split him hard way.
Yeah, so he did that, did the gut wrench Dr. Bomb for near fall, and then he did the big grip discus lariat to get the pin on Hanma and pick up some momentum going into the singles match with Yoshihashi.
So I got a question. So the grip. Let's talk about the grip real quick. So it's a sleeper hold. And then what? He spins the guy out.
And then he spins.
And then what does he spin the same way or the opposite way?
I'm not sure, but he spins out to do a discus lariat.
All right. So, bro, listen. Why are you laughing? So I was workshopping, not that I ever like actually independent wrestled, but like when I was training, I was workshopping my potential finishes at the time. And I had kind of a similar idea, and it kind of comes back to what we had called on the show before. Remember when we talked about like, we could remember when Okada was doing the Cobra Clutch?
Yeah, the money clip.
Before the money clip.
Oh, it's the standing regular. Yeah.
Remember a few years back before that, he was doing the Cobra Clutch. No one seems to remember, but he was doing the Cobra Clutch. We were talking about him spinning someone out. And I had come up with the idea. I was like, well, what if he never did it, but we had, wondered what would happen if he spun someone out and then gave him the fucking Rainmaker or whatever. And so I was playing around with the idea of doing something similar, like spinning someone out and then maybe potentially spinning and like hitting with an elbow or something like that. And I remember working on it and like Matt just being like, this is the fucking stupidest shit. And he's like, think about the logic of what you're doing. He's like, you're spinning them out and now you're spinning out so you can catch up to them spinning. He's like, what is the kayfabe logic of what you were trying to do? Like, how does that add any effectiveness to what you're doing? And he even pointed out, and I don't know exactly what it is that he does because I don't watch TNA, but he was like, Moose is doing something like this too. And he's like, and I shouldn't say this, but I told him that I guess he was doing something too where like he like does, you know, the short arm spin and then like a spin into a forearm. And he's like, this is just fucking stupid. He's like, ever since Okada, everyone wants to do like a ripcord spinning shit. And he's like, it works for Okada because he's spinning them out and pulling them into what he's doing. So it adds effectiveness. He was like, when you're just spinning them and then you're spinning, why are you all spinning? He's like, it looks sloppy. It looks like shit. He's like, you're disoriented. They're disoriented. You're not adding any effectiveness to what you're doing. And like, I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. And like, I had the only thing that was different was I was spinning them out and pulling them back into my spin. But Oi was not doing that. He's spinning them out and then he's also spinning out and then just catching them. Like, I think this is one of those things where the grip is going to have to go.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I guess technically he's gripping a sleeper hole, but I still don't think the grip is still the best name for that finisher, especially if it's going to be his nickname also.
It's a terrible name for the move, but the actual mechanics of the move make no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And I know it's wrestling and we can suspend our disbelief. And, you know, I'm not saying it needs to be, you know, joint promotions, world of sport levels of like mechanics. Doesn't have to be Fighting Network rings, but can we have it make some, like, it doesn't even look cool.
Yeah, like I don't get why he's not doing the Dr. Bomb. You know, he got that move over in Noah. It's a great move. Like, I feel like that's a nice, like, solid power move for him. That would be a great finisher.
I don't know. The grip is fucking stupid though. I can't even think of very many times I've ever come on this show and ripped any move from any wrestler in New Japan, except for like the remember the terrible butterfly lock that Yoshihashi used to do?
Yeah.
And they kind of fixed it, but sometimes he still does it the lazy way sometimes.
Yeah.
But like, that's like the one example that I can think of. Like, there's so few moves in New Japan that are actually terrible, and this is one of them. And I like Oiwa, and I think he's got a bright future, but the grip fucking sucks.
Yeah, I feel like if your move's called the grip, it should be like, I don't know, like a full Nelson or something, where you're literally just like holding on and it's like wrenching the guy or something.
That was my first inclination, but now that I've like seen him do it a few times, I'm like, this is just one of those things where it doesn't make sense. How is this effective?
Yeah, he
should just spin them out and disorient them and just fucking follow through with an elbow if that's really what he wants to do. He doesn't need to spin himself while after he spins them.
Yeah, or he just needs to just do a normal discus lariat and, like, you know, Brody Lee and just drill him that way.
Right. Him spinning alone makes sense. The other guy spinning and him hitting him makes sense. Both of them spinning? Why?
For fun.
I guess. It doesn't, and if it was like a synchronized thing and it looked cool in execute, it doesn't even look cool. It just looks sloppy.
Yeah.
It's like that Mercedes Moné finish.
Yeah, add that to the list of
yeah, that's the other one. Those are like the three. That's the three of them. It's a trinity.
Well, moving on to the next match, we had a team here of Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, and Yotsuji from LIJ defeating the War Dogs team of Drilla Maloney, Gabe Kidd, Gato, and Taiji Ishimori. So preview here for Gabe Kidd and Tsuji, and for Drilla and Shingo Takagi.
I don't think that these tag team matches with War Dogs and LIJ have been particularly standout in a match quality sense, where I would say, if you're tuning into things that have to be seen from these shows, definitely go see them. It's not like that, but in terms of like just entertainment value and doing a good job building heat for their for the matches that they're previewing, these have kind of carried the undercard each night of the tour, and I think the anticipation in the building for the matches between both Drilla and Shingo, as well as Gabe versus Tsuji, are pretty palpable. And it's been awesome to kind of see all those guys, go head to head. Again, the matches, not really anything crazy to write home about, but the post matches, the pre matches, and then the brawling on the outside, it's really well done. They're getting their character work in, and I think people are enjoying it.
Yeah, I feel like Gabe and Tsuji have really great chemistry, and these segments when they're in the ring together are really, really good, and the crowd's really into it, and they're both doing a great job. And so, yeah, I'm really excited for their big title match coming up, because they're two of the hottest guys that coming out of Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty on the roster, and crowd's behind both of the guys. They have great chemistry, both great wrestlers, so I'm really digging this feud here. And Drilla and Shingo, they're mixing it up, looking good. I can't remember if it was this show or the next show, but Drilla ends up has a haircut now. He got rid of the long hair, and
I think it was on the second night.
Yeah, kind of establishing the heavyweight look now, and yeah, I thought he looked good. And Naito and Hiromu, they're warming up for the Young Bucks. So overall, pretty good matchup here.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of one of their post match comments, and they were saying that they're gonna beat the Young Bucks but they don't have a tag team finisher, and they don't know whatever tag team finisher they have in mind. They don't know what the name of it is going to be. So like, we're gonna beat you with the thing. What's the name of it? We don't know. Like, they're like trying to figure, like, on that night we will beat you with it, though.
You'll know.
We're gonna come up with it, and it's gonna be effective. We're gonna beat you.
Yeah. Well, we know Hiromu likes to have unnamed moves, so maybe it'll just be like the unnamed double team combo.
The best move name he's ever had is D.
The D.
Yeah, it gives people the D.
Well, he didn't use D, but he did do a submission move here on Gato, a figure 4 style maneuver to get the submission win. We had a question here from Les Mission 7252. Says a Bret Hart scale for Gabe Kidd. Right now, Umino is at 25 and Ocon is at 30.5.
What? People are keeping track of this?
Yeah, I guess Les Commission. I think he's the one that's been asking, I think, mainly. So
I don't know. I just, the questions come, I answer them. I fucking forget that we ever interacted.
Yeah. And for people who want to get a full episode, during the pandemic, we did do a full-on episode of the Bret Hart scale on every roster member at the time. We gotta, I guess, update that now. But yeah,
we don't have time, dude. You gotta put that behind a paywall. That's Patreon exclusive content.
Yes.
So did you, speaking of which, did you agree or disagree with my assessment of Ocon?
No, yeah. I was pretty much in alignment with the scores you gave Ocon.
All right, cool. So we're doing Gabe Kidd, so take us through it.
All right, so look.
I'd go with the solid 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yep.
And I think that, he's getting bulkier. We'll see. But, I think he's I wouldn't say super standout look, but, very believable guy, athletic, strong, 8.
Yeah, good gear. I like the Coughlin tribute gear that he's wearing right now. So yeah, carries himself like a star. Yeah, 8. So that's look, Mike.
That's a tough one because it's sometimes polarizing. It turns some people off, and then others really love his mic work.
I'll go 9.
I was like, do I go 8.5 or do I go 9? That's fine. I'll go 9.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his mic work, even if others, on the Western side of the fence, they want to call him Chet Hanks and shit like that, whatever. Like, yeah, 9.
So look, Mike, work. I'd probably go also 9.
I'm going to go 8.5.
Okay.
Just because I think that there is potential. I'm a big fan of Gabe Kidd's work, and I think he's had some truly standout matches. I don't think that I'm at the point to be like he's one of the tip top workers in the entirety of the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's far off, but I would say right now today, for the most part, I would probably put him just a notch beneath, though, like a Will Ospreay, for instance.
Yeah. So, it factor.
I'd go 9.5.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that there's something special there. And, I mean, and I think that these scores could improve with time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go a flat 9 on that. But yeah, I could definitely see him being at that 9.5 and getting to that 10 and being a big star. So we're pretty much about the same there, because you had an 8.5 on when I gave a 9. I gave a 9 when you gave a 9.5. So.
Well, whatever, I work in finance, but whatever the fuck the math on that is,
Well, let's see right here.
People think I'm good at math because I work in finance. Nah, dude. Like, we got computer screens. You just punch in the number. It does it for you. Got calculators. It's amazing.
So I think that was 34.5, I think.
Out of 40.
Yeah, so.
Strong.
Very, very good score there.
Strong score for the strong champion.
Yeah. So that'll take us to the main event of this evening. We had El Desperado and Hiroki Goto defeating the TMDK team of Kosei Vegeta and Zack Sabre Jr. Goto, as we all know, challenging Zack for the world title at New Beginning in Osaka, and Goto getting a big upset pinfall victory here over Zack Sabre Jr. in Korakuen Hall.
Yeah, so big surprise upset win. Every once in a while, it doesn't happen, but, oftentimes when you have these preview matches, rarely does the champion or the challenger for the big boy belt actually eat the pinfall. It's usually going to be the juniors or whoever the designated pin eater is for a particular group. On this night, it was a little bit harder to tell because you kind of have two preview matches for both the junior and the heavyweight titles, and it makes that a little bit more precarious because you're like, well, who's doing the JOB? It's not easy to tell. And they went the bold route and had Goto pick up the win. And I'm a big fan of every now and again, not always, but every now and again, having the world champion lose in a tag team preview match to kind of keep them honest and establish that, that the challenger is capable of getting a meaningful win over the champion. So I think that adds a little bit of a surprise element and plausibility going into this title challenge for Goto against Zack. I thought the Korakuen Hall crowd was very happy to see this. And I thought the match overall was a very good tag team main event.
Yeah, and I think this worked out well because they do it so rarely. Like you mentioned, normally it's usually a junior or a pin eater. They do it so rarely, so whenever they do it, it's always big, and people are really riding that Goto wave right now, are really behind him, and want to see him, finally win the title here. And the story's there, and the last 3 matches that he's had with Zack's beat him. He won the first 2, but Zack has beaten him 3 straight now. And so Zack's had his number, and I think now it's a good time. He has the crowd support. People are rallying behind him. That Osaka show is sold out. They've been adding more tickets and keep selling out. They've lessened the stage so they can add more seats, and that's all sold out now. And it's going to be a big hot crowd in Osaka. So I think the more you can add momentum to Goto, the better that main event's going to be.
What did I miss when Fujita got established as the next challenger for Desperado? Because you probably know, and you listened to the show last week, like, what the fuck did I miss here?
So it was something, it didn't happen on the screen. I think it was
Must have been a backstage segment.
I think it was a backstage thing, and they ended up announcing it because it's going to be this coming week, I think on Friday, and in Korakuen Hall, it's one of the Korakuen matches coming up.
Well, at least I'm in tune enough to where I can literally watch a preview match without knowing he's the challenger, being like, they're working this like he's going to be the next guy. When in fact it was already like an established thing. And then people, this week kind of corrected me a little bit. We're in the Discord. If you want to chat some New Japan, come join the Social Suplex Discord. And they're like, yeah, they established it. And I was like, fuck, I must have missed that. But at least I caught that they were building to something here. So, and I've liked the interactions between those two guys quite a bit as well. So I thought this overall, this main event, I thought it worked.
You know what? I think actually, now I'm thinking about it, I think at New Year's Dash, I think there might have been a multi-man match where they interacted.
Yeah, but that don't mean shit. Everyone was just holding up their belts.
So, yeah, there was no like straight on direct challenge. I think it was from that multi-man. We had a couple questions here. Old Trev on Blue Sky says, I'm now convinced that Goto will win against CSJ. Could Despy versus Goto be a time limit draw for the anniversary show?
Could Despy versus Goto be a time limit draw?
Yeah, so he's asking.
I guess. I mean, that match is usually non-title, so it would be a 30-minute time limit draw. I honestly, I don't want to jump too deep into the predictions, but as of right now, and I've had different feelings in the past, but as of today, I don't think Goto's winning that match. I thought he should, and I was kind of excited for the prospect of it, but the more I've thought about it, I don't think he's winning. So
yeah, I keep going back and forth, but let's say he did win. I mean, I think he would just beat Despy in that main event.
Yeah. But that was another thing. Seeing Desperado and Zack Sabre Jr. lock it up in this match was also very interesting, especially considering all the history with them and Suzuki-gun. And I went back and looked at Cage Match, and they've only ever had one singles match ever, and that was in Noah during I don't know what the name of Noah's like junior. I think it's the Junior Global League, or that's what it used to be called.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So, probably in like 2015, 2016, they had a singles match when, back when Zach was a junior. And that's the only time they've ever wrestled in a singles capacity. So I feel like we might be getting that, coming up in March.
Yeah, I think that would make a ton of sense. And yeah, it would be a great main event for the anniversary show. Last question 7252 asks, that says a tag match on the first night with Goto and Desperado versus Sabre Fujita was very important, as the winner in both title matches are most likely going to face one another on the anniversary show if they're going with the traditional heavyweight versus junior. When Walker and hopefully Chris comes back, should they nail it to the head of fans to be intrigued by the potential matchups?
Yeah, I mean, that's their job. So, yeah, I'm glad that the people listening are picking up on the story beats there, and I think that's some smart booking. And yeah, I mean, the commentators should definitely point out the ramifications, of course.
Yeah. I wish we had English commentary going for this tour, but I don't know. I've been enjoying Milano.
I'm okay with it. I want some of these. I saw people on like the New Japan Reddits being like, I wanted to jump back in, but there's no English commentary. I don't know what to do, bro.
Be a man. Listen to Milano.
Be a man. Listen to some Japanese. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they're great. Like they just the way that they commentate and they make things feel big, and they get into it. I love Milano.
Oh, you can't get into it without having someone spoon feed you the story beats. Watch what they're doing in the actual ring.
Right. The story's in the ring. You don't need, all this extra stuff. You don't need a friendship bracelet. You don't need a Ula Fala to have a story.
Look, if you want English commentary, we will put it behind a paywall.
I did think about could I somehow record my voice over the thing to do commentary to give to people?
Bro, I'm pretty sure it's illegal. But, there was the Tokon Retsuden guys or whatever their names are.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Used to do that. They did that back in the day, back in the early 2000s. They would literally show bootleg Japanese professional wrestling matches, and they'd commentate over it in English. They're the only ones out there that were prominent doing it. I've actually got the whole library of their shit saved somewhere. I downloaded it all. So yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I think we'd probably get hit with a cease and desist, if not like some sort of like lawsuit if we had to do that shit.
Yeah, be sure ain't gonna play that.
But I don't know, it's behind a paywall. They got to pay to find out,
Yeah. Or, they could just fly us there to do it since, they need a backup team.
I think I would be terrible at commentary. I really do. Maybe not. I've never tried. Yeah. I'm a pretty good salesperson. I talk to people every day.
There you go.
I don't know.
So
maybe they should pay for us to come out there and we'll try our hand at it.
I mean, if Lanny Poffo got a shot, I mean, why can't we?
Well, he invented the moonsault. Did you invent any moves?
No, but we've been doing the longest running weekly episodic New Japan Pro Wrestling podcast, 374 episodes. I think that's enough, credibility to give us a shot.
Maybe, or give us something.
Yeah. So moving on to the second show, January 23rd, we were talking about Tanahashi defeating Murashima in the opener. Then following that, we had another House of Torture versus Hantai match. Once again, Narita, Sho, Kanemaru, and Yujiro defeating Wato, Bolton, Shomakato, and Toru Yano. Once again, House of Torture getting the win, stealing the titles, and having a post-match beatdown here. Then following that, we had Deguchi, Shota Umino, and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the United Empire team of Francesco Akira, Great Okan, and Jacob Austin Young. So fine matchup here. Once again, we had Tomohiro Ishii and Francesco Akira mixing it up at the beginning of the match. Umino was in there, and Akira asked for him to tag in Ishii, saying he wants a real challenge. So once again, their interactions were a lot of fun there. And towards the end, it was Shota Umino, I believe it was, or actually no, it was Deguchi. Deguchi got the Oh My Ankle on Jacob Austin Young to get the submission victory there for his team. Then post-match, Okan attacked Umino and walked him through the curtain and grabbed one of the shirts and towels from the ring sides and tore it up there. Then following that, we had TMDK's Hartley Jackson and Kosei Fujita defeating El Desperado and Tomioka Hanma in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. So another preview tag here for the upcoming junior title match with Kosei Fujita challenging El Desperado coming up this week on a Road to the New Beginning show. So good stuff here. Nice preview. And Big Hartley Jackson hits the running power slam, followed by a Death Valley driver to get the win over Hanma.
Yeah, I'm glad to see him kind of get. That might not seem meaningful to the average viewer, but there is a hierarchy in New Japan, and for a guy like Hartley Jackson, if he were to pick up a win over, say, like a young lion, that's to be expected, But to beat a veteran, it's not the hugest step in the world, but it is a rung above what he's accomplished so far in the company. So it kind of establishes, like, at any given time, he could beat any one of the dads, which is essentially where Oleg Bolton has kind of been slotted as well. So not saying that he's on the same trajectory as Oleg Bolton, but that probably means, like, if he's in there with any level of, like, lower level junior, lion, or dad, he could probably beat them at this point.
Yeah, I think he's establishes him as a more of a regular roster member. I know he had a handful of appearances towards the end of last year, but now we're seeing him on more tours and starting to pick up victories. So now I kind of feel like he's going to be kind of more embedded into the roster going forward.
Yeah.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Place $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
Hello, my name is Jorge Gaviria, and I'm the founder of Hacienda. We partner with farmers in Mexico to bring heirloom corn products to every kitchen. With my Spark Cash Plus card from Capital One, I earn unlimited 2% cash back on every purchase. And it has no preset spending limit, which means my purchasing power adapts to my business needs. My Spark card helps me fulfill my mission of bringing masa to the masses. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/SparkCashPlus.
Then following that, we had Bushi, Hiromu, Shingo, and Naito and Tsuji defeating the War Dogs team of Clark, Drilla, Gabe, Gato, and Taiji Ishimori. So another preview there for those upcoming interfeuds there in LI.
I like to see Gato barking with the War Dogs.
Yeah, and Bushi applied the Fable, his figure four onto Gato to get the submission victory here. So, once again, felt like Gabe and Tsuji had a lot of good chemistry here. Let's Commission had a question. It says, with the addition of Ishimori joining the War Dogs, is there even a point of keeping the Bullet Club name alive? The faction, which is not even a faction anymore, should be defunct. I believe they're keeping the name alive to give it more prestige.
They're keeping it alive because it makes money.
Yeah, I know it's probably. Honestly, I don't even know because I mean, also we've heard when the Elite were there, the sales were good, and we really don't hear a lot about the merchandise sales. But it would be my assumption that if they were not making a ton of money on it, they probably would have just got rid of it at this point. But clearly, that there's still some cachet, there's still some draw to that Bullet Club name, and I think it has helped enhance the War Dogs having that Bullet Club branding on there.
Yeah, definitely.
Then semi-main event, Robbie Eagles and Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Hiroki Goto and Yo. So this time, Sabre teaming up with Eagles, who's going to be defending the junior tag titles with Vegeta against Roppongi Revice, and it was Eagles here who was able to get the win over his challenger in this matchup.
And you have him defend that white belt, the solo PWA title.
Yeah, it should. That'd be a fun Corkin main event.
But another really good preview. I don't have much more to say there. But yeah, they're doing a good job kind of simultaneously building this Fujita challenge as well as the Ichiban Sweet Boys versus Roppongi Revice. And then, obviously Zach kind of looking to rebound from taking that pinfall loss the previous evening.
Yeah. And then that took us to our main event, special singles match, The Grip. Roy Oiwa defeats Yoshihashi in 21 minutes and 26 seconds.
Yeah, this was a really interesting match for quite a few reasons, and I've seen a lot of different opinions and views on the match itself, and I was kind of curious. I've pretty much this is the one match on these two shows that we're all looking forward to, where I've sort of really delved in and kind of formulated my feelings on it, but I wasn't sure what your thoughts were going into the match, or how you felt watching it, or what you were expecting, what you took from it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't really know what I was expecting, but to me, it was kind of ended up in a 3.5 to 3.75 range. I thought it was a very good, it was a very hard hitting matchup, lots of chops between both guys. Oiwa working on the arm of Yoshihashi throughout, and I felt like Yoshihashi was kind of being that angry veteran, that kind of grumpy tiger mask kind of role, and really trying to take it to Oiwa at points throughout the match, hitting a lot of his big moves, and thought it was pretty good. I know I've seen people that have been very high. I know there's a lot of people on the Oiwa train right now, and I like Oiwa, but I'm just not there with him right now like everybody else is. And so for me, this was a very good 3.5, maybe 3.75 level, a very good Corkin main event to have, but to me, it didn't really hit that next level of some other Korakuen main events where, you have Ishii in a Korakuen main event, or I'm trying to think who else has in good Korakuens, Shingo. It just didn't have that kind of. It didn't hit that next level that some Korakuens have.
Yeah, I would agree. I would also kind of postulate that wasn't necessarily the aim or the goal of what was being presented here. I saw some people kind of down on the early portions of the match and felt like they weren't a big fan of the work that was being done early on. But as I watched it, a couple things was like, number one, there was a foundation that was being built there with the early work where, like you mentioned, the arm was being worked on. And kind of my answer to that is like, I don't know. Sometimes I see people be like, yeah, the early work I hated it. And I'm like, it's pro wrestling, bro.
Work a hole.
You might not like pro wrestling. Like if you don't, maybe you just like gymnastics. And I hate to be like, sound like one of those, like cornet kind of guys or whatever, because that's not really my thing. But you do have to wonder, like, if it's like the only thing you like is the big moves and the people coming off the top rope, which, yeah, that's all exciting, but you don't like anything that preceded it, which is, literally functionally the story, the groundwork. You just might not like wrestling. Like that might not be your thing. I don't know. But I thought that the work early was interesting because Yoshihashi, for the vast majority of his time in the company, and we've seen him go through a lot of storyline development, growth, yada, 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 he's always kind of the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really remember another time, and I'm sure that maybe there is one, but I can't think of another prominent big main event or big moment where he was tasked with guiding a young guy to a main event of this kind of caliber. And he was coming in as like the grumpy veteran as opposed to the plucky underdog babyface, which was a totally different thing for him. And I thought he did fantastic in that role. Like he was tasked with putting this guy through the ringer and testing him out, seeing what his mettle is. And the match did a lot of different things. We saw them do a lot of great grappling and limb work early on. We saw them do a lot of brawling on the outside. We saw a lot of desperation later on when they were doing the submission spots. We saw them go into the strike exchanges and the fighting spirit stuff, like you mentioned. A lot of great like suplexes and big moves down the stretch. And then ultimately, Oiwa was able to overcome and kind of, they were going back and forth with pinning attempts, and then he got the grip and pinned him clean 1, 2, 3. I thought that this match was a little bit of a like a sampler, like when you go to Chili's or whatever, and you order the sampler and you get a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. That's what this was. It was trying to see how Oiwa reacts and behaves in this kind of environment on this evening with all of these different types of house style presentation. Can he fit the bill? And like, was it an all-time classic match? No, but it was far from. We've had discussions in the past about like times where, for instance, Shota Umino, gets put in a big Korakuen spot against like the Naito match in particular comes to mind. But there have been other ones where it's like, bro, I don't know. People start ringing the alarm bells and everything. I felt like Oiwa did good here, did really, really good. I'm with you. I think at the end I was like probably close to 4, but I think like 3.75 is probably appropriate. Mm-hmm. And that's not like it's not to say that this is an all-time classic match, but for what it was aiming to do, for it to be a testing spot to see where Oiwa was and if he has the goods, and I think he does, and I think he passed the test. And the crowd, they never lost the crowd. The crowd was always invested. They were always hyped. They reacted really well to the finish. They liked his post-match closing promo. And for him to get the big win in a believable way, I thought this did what it needed to do. And you can only grow from here. I think it was a learning experience.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that Oiwa, unlike some of the other young lions that have come back from excursion, that he feels confident in who he is, even though we don't understand what the grip nickname. He feels confident as the grip, and he has that ring presence and that charisma, and yeah, the crowd was with him. And the closing stretch was really good. He had the Dr. Bomb, a top rope frog splash for a near fall, and then applied the sleeper to go into the discus clothesline to get the win. So yeah, it was a really good Korakuen main event.
Is he I don't think he does a frog splash. I think he does a big splash where he puts his arms up and then falls flat. Is that him who's doing that lately?
I think it was that too. I could have swore it was he did a frog splash in this match.
Maybe he did. And you're probably right. You're better with the moves than I am. But somebody, I can't remember if it's him. Someone is doing the old school thing where they stand as tall as they can with their arms stretched out and they're falling flat.
I think he does it. I think he does that too.
I love that. It's so old school and like it looks awesome. Like I just really like it. The only real like criticism I have about the match is the intensity that was shown between these two guys at New Year's Dash and that establishing story where like they were out to kill each other. Not to say that there wasn't a good level of intensity in the match, but I don't think that the energies quite matched one another. Maybe there's an intentionality there. I don't know. But, if you set up the match in that fashion, you would almost expect this to be a more heated encounter than it ultimately ended up being.
Yeah, maybe a more never style matchup where we're throwing bombs.
Potentially, yeah. But all the same, I thought the match was great. I thought Yoshihashi knocked it out of the park, guiding a young guy in a big test, a big step. The crowd was behind him. I see it as nothing but a positive. And, I am a little surprised at the negativity because we've seen other young guys shit the bed plenty of times where we had to start having conversations like, well, it takes a while.
Yeah.
Got to be patient here. And it's like, I don't feel like we have to have that kind of conversation about Oiwa just yet. I think he's where he needs to be and he's developing.
Yeah. I think the problem is the expectations are just super high for him. Cause especially I feel like a lot of people really love the Noah run and just have a lot of stock invested in him. And so if he's not, throwing out a 4.5 star matchup, people start getting worried where it's like
really, I mean, I didn't follow it as closely as others, but I mean, it seemed like, did he do good work in Noah? Yes. But like, what were the standout matches? He had like the 2 with Kiyomiya and that seemed to be pretty much it. Like, so, I don't know why the expectations would be so much vastly higher for him than others, other than the fact that people are desperate for an ace and they want to, cling on to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, like, I like him, but I'm not super high on him the way that other people are. But I mean, I thought he did pretty good in this matchup.
I thought it was really good. I mean, how I feel about him and Fujita, like when they first came in as Lions. So like, I'm a big fan of what they're capable of doing and everything like that. But I'm not even where you're at, where I'm like, I'm not there with him. Like, I just like, yeah, he's doing great. Yeah, he's doing really good. I'm positive on it. I think there was one of the biggest complaints people had was like, they keep jobbing him. He needs to win. Well, then he wins. And then people are like, he won, but it wasn't good enough.
It's like, what do you want, people?
All right, guys. Cool.
Oh, man.
Wrestling fans, they just might not, they might just be the most miserable people out there. You never know. But,
yeah.
No, like as toxic and issue laden wrestling culture might be, or like wrestling fandom, like it's nothing compared to like, say, like Star Wars fandom,
Yeah. Or even like some
like
of those
the Marvel fans.
Yeah. We had a couple questions here. Call me Sam because I'm Toucan says, are you gripping?
Well, Sam, no, I'm not gripping.
Yeah. I mean, I like Oiwa, but I'm not at quote unquote gripping just yet. Definitely.
There's something there. Jeremy's, I can tell when there's a hesitancy in your voice. There's something you're not connecting with there.
Yeah, it's like I like him. I think to me, it's just like I've seen the hype that people are like, he's the ace, he's the one, he's the man. Like, I don't know, maybe he is. I just don't see it yet. Like, he's very good, but like to me, like I'm still way higher on Tsuji than I am
absolutely.
on Oiwa.
I don't know why we would even be having that conversation at this point, to be honest.
The people think Oiwa is the one, and I'm like, I don't know. I see Yoda Tsuji right there. I see Gabe Kidd right there. Like I don't know about Oiwa being the one just yet.
Yeah, I mean the only thing is like Tsuji's not classically. He doesn't have the matinee idol kind of looks that you expect a New Japan style ace to have necessarily.
Yeah.
Like he kind of does fit the template of like the dark ace more. Like he has more in common with the Naito or Nakamura or like a Riki Choshu or a Chono than, Inoki. But that's not to say that he couldn't be the guy. I think he absolutely could be the guy. Nagata wasn't necessarily the most handsome man in the world. Neither was Fujinami. So,
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Death Triangle Sun 20.
And then, Gabe's white. I've been listening to some other I've found some time this weekend. I've been listening to some other New Japan podcasts and stuff. And like, they're like, feels like it. Like he's representing the company. He's got the Lions mark. I feel like I could see him as the leader of Hantai, like I'm hearing people say that. And I'm like, dog, he's white. I see what you're saying. I see it too. I get it. But he's white, dude. There's only so, why do you think Will Ospreay left aside from the money?
Oh, man.
There's a reason Kenny's only moonlighting over here. You know what I mean?
It's for that. It reminded me of, I was listening to Taka's Jericho. He had Shelton Benjamin on. And Benjamin was talking about being in Japan, and they go to these small towns, and he just just wants to walk around. And he in this one random town, this old couple just sees this big black guy just walking the streets and just kind of in awe of this guy. They don't always see black people just walking around the streets in a tank top. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Now imagine why Bob Sapp was one of the biggest stars ever in the history of sportsdom for their entire country,
Yeah. Different Angle 720 asks, he says, after the Oiwa versus Hashi match, which title do you think Oiwa will be gunning for?
I don't know. TV?
Yeah, I feel like he's a good either TV or maybe even never title challenger.
Bring back the KPW?
Resurrect it.
Resurrect the U30?
So that's it for this week's show. So coming up this week, we have night 3 of Road to the New Beginning will be January 30th. We got Chomakato versus Daiki Nagai, Morishima and Yoshihashi versus Hartley Jackson and Oiwa, ELP, Jado, Umino, and Togi Makabe versus Akira, Great Okan, Jacob Austin Young, and Jeff Cobb, Taichi and Taka versus Sonata and Taichi, Hanma and Ishii versus Hiromu and Naito, Bushi, Shingo, and Tsuji versus Clark, Drilla, and Gabe. Never 6-man title match. Tanahashi, Bolton, and Yano defend against Narita, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. And then the main event will be Hiroki Goto and Yo and El Desperado versus Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, and Zack Sabre Jr. And then night 4, February 3rd, we got Chomakato versus Murashima, Tanahashi versus Daiki Nagai, Wato, Taguchi, and Umino versus Akira, Great Okan, and Jacob Austin Young, Makabe and Hanma versus Hiromu and Naito, Taichi and Taka versus Clark and Sonata, Bushi, Shingo, and Tsuji versus Drilla, Gabe, and Ishimori, Goto, Ishii, Yo, and Yoshihashi versus Despy. Oh, actually, Despy's on their team against the TMDK team of Hartley Jackson, Fujita, Eagles, Oiwa, and Sabre. And then the main event will be for the NJPW World Television title. El Phantasmo will defend against Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good to see Jeff Cobb and ELP back on the tour and culminating with that title match there. So, probably not necessary to preview the entire road twos, but what are your thoughts on like the key, main event / semi-main event matches of this upcoming week's tour?
Yeah, so night 3, that never title match. Not really thrilled with seeing that rematch combo again. I don't even
know what the direction of that is, because it's like Tanahashi, it's his final year. He's a never champion with the six mans. Is this going to lead to somewhere, or is now the time where we just need to go ahead and get those belts off of him and let Yano eat a pinfall, and House of Torture can do what they need to do with much needed gold, because right now Evil's gone. Or is this a never ending Tanahashi reign?
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with them dropping it, because then you could do more with Tanahashi in other title scenes in his last year. And also same thing with Bolton. You can move Bolton into some other title pictures and kind of let House of Torture run around with their titles.
You know what? You want to know what the dirty little secret is, though?
What?
They could do that and still be champions. It really wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need to focus extensively on having never title feuds. It's the never titles, especially in its current state and iteration. Doesn't really matter. But I'm a little curious on that one. I guess I don't really care who wins the match, and that's
it's not going to be consequential whatsoever. Like, if Hantai retains, cool. House of Torture retains, whatever. It's just,
if House of Torture wins it, though, then I'll have to be concerned about some sort of House of Torture never 6-man feud. So I guess I'll be rooting for the Ace and friends.
Yeah. Then the main event that night, it's another preview there with the title match and the junior tag title and the junior title as well.
One thing we didn't talk about, which was noteworthy on the first night, was after Goto won his match, he was applauded by Desperado, him and Desperado had some miscommunications during that tag team match. And this kind of stems back from the animosity that's sort of been experienced over the years between Suzuki-gun and Chaos, and then, Strong Style and the rest of Chaos / Hantai. And now Despy is kind of, I guess, being brought into the Hantai fold, because he's kind of been without a home for quite a while. He stood in the aisleway and applauded Goto for his post-match promo. Goto, welcomed him back into the ring, said, "Let the past be past, bygones be bygones," and they shook hands, which was kind of a surprising gesture and move, and sort of shows a little bit of goodwill between these guys.
Yeah, the leader of Chaos, Goto, recruiting new members.
Oh, that would be interesting, I guess. I guess he is kind of the leader of Chaos right now. So he's like the Carl Anderson of the group.
Yeah. So that 6-man on the night 3 should be fun. And then night 4, that TV title match with Phantasmo and Cobb. I believe they're doing. Are they doing? I think there's no count out, I think, for this match based off of what they did off of the Battle in the Valley match.
I don't know why. It's already a 15-minute time limit match. You can't beat the dude with 15 minutes in a count out. You don't deserve to hold the title. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're doing no count out. So yeah, I don't know.
It's 15 minutes. How many countouts are we going to tease in a 15-minute match? You know what I mean? Let's get to the shits. We don't need that.
Yeah, that is the one thing that they could end up building the match more around the count out than being outside versus just going in the ring.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the match for sure. I think it's going to be really good, and I'm anticipating that El Phantasmo picks up the win there. There is some speculation. There's a little scuttlebutt amongst the fandom out there as to whether or not either of these guys, but more particularly Jeff Cobb, are re-signed with the company, whether they're staying or going, that sort of thing. And, you know, if Jeff wins, probably a key indication he's good to go. And, you know, if he doesn't get that big, you know, rectangle belt back around his waist,
yeah,
who knows?
So I'm on the website, and it's saying that both men requested for no count out, but as of right now,
I hope the IWGP committee says, fuck that, you got 15 minutes, figure it out.
Well, as of now, they are saying that they're not agreeing. As of right now, it's still regular rules.
You got 15 minutes. You don't need to build the story around no count outs. It's just, you know, what are they going to do? They're going to brawl around the building in a 15-minute match. How much of the match of the 15 minutes are they going to spend outside the ring avoiding the count out?
Yeah.
Like, I don't fucking go out there and perform, dude. It's 15 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to find.
We don't need to walk and brawl.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to find a way to do another non-finish to like just keep adding, like building.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wonder. You know, you hear the speculation. I'm like, you know, this guy didn't job. You know, they had to do non-finishes. I'm like, is it for leverage? Are we talking to other companies? What's going on?
Yeah, well, we'll see. So yeah, so that's the two Road to New Beginnings coming up this week, and yeah, that's going to do it for the previews.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We
yeah, there's only one really news item here. Jet Setters will be challenging Violence is Forever for the DPW World Tag Team Championships later this week.
Everyone seems to be up. Everyone loves DPW these days. Aren't those the guys? Aren't those the guys that, like, when they launched their company, they were like asking us to come be on the show and like on Facebook? Do you remember that?
I don't know.
Yeah, bro. Like, I think that they ran one of the like groups that we were, you know, kind of piggybacking off of and putting our shit in, and they were like, yeah, we're starting a promotion, we're independent promoters, we'd like to come be on the show, blah blah. And you and I were like, what the fuck are we gonna talk about? Some indie promote? They're having who's the one dude? Shane Mercer?
Yeah,
he's like the athletic dude who does like the backflips and power slams and shit.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that he was like on one of their debut shows or whatever, and they were like getting big names, and I was like, "This is so, like but they wanted to come like talk to us to promote," and I was like, "What are we gonna talk? We cover New Japan. We don't cover, you know, the Shindies." But maybe we should have had them on. Everyone's like raving and reviewing, you know, raving about how good their promotion is now and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, making money." I thought this was a money pit. Like, I saw the names they had on their shows and shit, and I was like, oh, these guys are going to go out of business quick.
Yeah. No, maybe we're going to hit them up and see.
Maybe. What are we going to talk about? It's still my same question. Like,
I don't know. Let's talk about wrestling.
I don't like to talk about a very particular kind of wrestling. Needs to happen on a blue mat.
That's right.
With white outline.
Well, we got a few questions here, and then we can get ready to wrap the show up. Barry Walls says, do you guys think New Japan at this point needs to start giving Gabe Kidd some wins? After the match with Kenny and him being so hot, wouldn't having him win a match be a bit better than have him not win again?
That's a great sentiment. I don't know if I 100% agree with the thought, but the fact that people are feeling that way. Remember when Kenny lost to Okada and people were feeling like he needed to start picking up some wins, and then what happened? He came back and he fought Ishii and he lost in the New Japan Cup. And then that prompted them to have the rematch, and people are like, what the fuck are they doing with Kenny? He needs to be winning. Yeah. You know? And the fact that people felt that way was kind of why they did it that way. And I honestly, I'm not gonna be surprised. I don't think he's beating Tsuji. Like, I could be wrong there, and I'm not gonna be totally shocked if he beats Tsuji. But at the same time, Tsuji, it's his second title defense, first time against a New Japan contracted talent defending the belt. I wouldn't be surprised if he retains, and maybe that's the impetus for why people are like feeling that they want to see Gabe win, and see him overcome the odds and everything like that. All the same, the one thing I think that's not helping him is how many big matches he was in last year, especially outside of the company and in the company, but outside the company where he lost. Like, lost a big match to Shingo, lost a big match to Kiyomiya, lost a big match to Will Ospreay, lost a big match to Kenny now. How many times has he had these big matches and come up short? So eventually, he's got to win one.
Yeah, I think that it's a tough booking call for both. That's because Tsuji and Gabe both had a lot of momentum coming out of the Tokyo Dome weekend, and you would hypothetically want both guys to kind of get a win and move forward. But only one guy can get the win here, so I don't think Gabe's going to beat Tsuji. But I do agree at some point, you do got to have to turn the corner, and Gabe does need to start winning some big matches.
It for me, putting on the Booker hat, I have to wonder who can I capitalize off of more in losing, not in winning, because just my gut feeling, and it's not a perfect science, and I'm not a booker, but I feel like Gabe can handle the loss and stay hot and come out on top. I'm not that confident about that sort of thing with Tsuji. Because Tsuji's kind of in a similar position where he ate a lot of big losses last year and everything. And I feel like if he wins the title and drops it in a short succession, it will throw cold water on him. And let's be honest, I don't think he is as hot as Gabe right now. I don't think he has the same kind of recovery period that Gabe will have.
Yeah, and I think there's a sympathy aspect there. If Gabe loses, people
exactly
get behind him, and then that's going to lead to the babyface turn.
The other thing, too, is like, if he wins this match, right?
Yeah.
That's the payoff for the loss. Is that where we want to take him? Like, is the payoff for doing the job to Kenny and getting all this goodwill just him to turn around and win the white belt a month later, and that's where he's slotted now? And it's not the worst place to be. But I kind of see him potentially going higher than that. And I feel like maybe taking another loss, as contradictory as it sounds, could be the kind of, like you talked about, like sympathy that's needed to traject into where he's really supposed to go.
Yeah, then a loss here, that could open up a door for a win in New Japan Cup or a bigger win later on in the year. That puts him in a world title match versus just a white strap match.
Yeah, and I see these guys locking it up again. I don't know how soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes one of those 2 to 3 matches this year. We oftentimes, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again at New Japan Cup or in the G1 or a title rematch later in the year. All those are on the table, and I think Gabe will get the win back, but I think he's going to lose this first one.
Yeah. Barry also asked, with the news that WWE and TNA have entered into a partnership and NJPW and AEW in one...
When? 2 years ago?
And NJPW and AEW in 1-2, does this close the door on Young Lions going to either TNA or Noah? Now with the WWE ties, I'm thinking with the AEW partnership, it might not be able to happen. So instead of you working with the others, limit or make it more difficult for Young Lions, or would MLW and All Japan, etc., be just as good?
I don't know. I don't think they're going to work Impact or TNA again, because TNA is in a relationship with WWE, but I wouldn't say it's 100% impossible, because we've seen kind of weird crossover-y type stuff over the past year. And like WWE's kind of working with Noah, and we've seen New Japan contracted talents on the same cards in Noah as when they brought in Nakamura or some of the NXT guys or Omos and stuff like that. So it's not impossible, but if you've noticed, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but like the Impact New Japan thing hasn't happened in quite a while.
Yeah, well, that relationship is pretty much done. New Japan's done on Access TV. With Scott D'Amore leaving, he was kind of the one that helped mend the bridge between New Japan and TNA after all those years of them wanting nothing to do with them after dropping the ball with Okada. He was out, and then things kind of started shifting away, and then they got canceled on Access TV. So the whole New Japan TNA thing kind of fell apart before this big announcement.
Yeah. So, and then I don't think that the AEW Impact relationship kind of faltering helped things either, because that's at this point, that's New Japan's primary U.S. partner. But I don't see a Young Lion going to MLW because MLW is not really that active of a touring company. They just do shows here and there, but it's not quite the same level of thing. But I mean, we could see them in the US. I mean, we've seen weird setups for different kind of excursions. So like, is it impossible that someone's on excursion and they show up in MLW or they work MLW regularly? Sure. The thing with All Japan, I don't know. Like the thing with Noah is like, even though Cyber Fight and or Cyber Agent and Bushiroad are kind of competitors, they're also kind of like partners in a sense because of the Abema connection and New Japan being like a publicly traded company and Abema having like a minority stake and all that sort of stuff. So it gets a little convoluted. But I would love the idea of someone going to work All Japan as an excursion, but I don't know if they have the infrastructure to kind of support that either. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen with Oiwa doing the domestic excursion in Noah was a pretty cool thing. So yeah, I mean, if there were opportunities, for All Japan or Big Japan or whatever else to kind of have a Young Lion just kind of hop around some of the smaller Japanese promotions, that would be cool. And then if they come to the U.S., I mean, you can just have them work a bunch of indie dates. We saw that with Yuya Uemura when he wasn't doing strong tapings. He would kind of go around the country and pretend like he was not coming back to New Japan and go to Texas and do all this stuff. So, I mean, there's definitely stuff you can do in the U.S. without kind of tying them down in one promotion.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like if you did have someone go on an excursion to another Japanese promotion, that Japanese promotion needs to be willing to get a little bit hoed by New Japan the way that Noah was willing to get hoed. And I'm not fully confident that like an All Japan or a GLEAT or whatever are wanting to do that.
Yeah. And then Barry's last question, he says, also, is AEW signing a lot of top talent from New Japan also short-sighted? Okada, etc. haven't moved the needle for them, and attendance at times look awful. So like New Japan, the Forbidden Door might be one of its top gates, and with less dream matches, does this possibly hurt AEW almost as much as it does New Japan?
No. No, not at all. I mean, are there things to criticize about the utilization of the talent that they've signed up from New Japan? Sure. Especially in the case of Okada, I would say. But at the same time, there are things that you can praise about what they've done with Okada. I think that for my money, I think the negatives outweigh the positives, but to pretend like it's all only negatives and that there's been no positives whatsoever, not really the case. The other thing too, it's a proxy war. It's not just about New Japan and AEW. Most of those signings had to do with the fact that those talents were talking to WWE. And really, that's where the primary battle is coming down to, is WWE versus AEW in the same marketplace. And they're fighting over talent. They're trying to figure out, not just how to use these talents, but, what the optics of someone being a big name free agent and then either choosing to go with AEW or WWE, what that looks like on paper. Never mind the fallout afterwards after you sign them. in that initial battle, you need to be the one that comes out on top, being like looking like the destination where people want to go work. Yeah. I don't know, Jeremy, your thoughts? There's other things I could say.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think that them poaching New Japan really hurts them. I mean, I guess if you bring up the Forbidden Door aspect, yeah, like, there's not a ton of dream matches that you can do, but I mean, they're going to continue to do that pay-per-view, and they're going to find, I mean, they're still, I mean, Zach's still
the same business they've always done.
Yeah, Zach's still, you know, in New Japan. There's a lot of guys, you know, Gabe Kidd's coming up. Like, there are big matches they can do if they want to do them. And like we saw with last year, I mean, they can just throw 2 AEW guys in the main event. You know, we had Swerve and Ospreay in the main event of that show, and there wasn't New Japan versus New Japan. So Forbidden Door is going to continue to do well, even if they don't utilize some of the New Japan guys like the way they've done in the past. So,
and there's definitely issues with with AEW's attendance, right? Like that is a thing. But at the same time, in recent days, I haven't been like tracking where their attendance is recently, so I couldn't like tell you if I haven't been, you know, listening to my WrestleNomics like I used to or anything like that. But at the end of the day, their business model is not really based on attendance. I mean, attendance is important. I think it's a leading indicator as to the health of the company and everything like that. You want to sell tickets, you want people to show up, but like most of their business is based on television revenue and pay-per-view buys. And those are two things that they are
very strong.
They're very strong. Even if ratings have declined, and they've declined at an accelerated rate beyond what the rate of cord cutting is, and that's true too. And they need to work out these kinks. They need to figure it out. Their money is guaranteed for like 3 years. Beyond that, they need to they need to work things out. But signing New Japan talent and the long-reaching effects of one particular pay-per-view show is a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of like AEW's overall business methods and you know, business planning. Like, it's just not even a consideration. Plus, I mean, look at the upside of it. It's like, yeah, are they paying these guys a lot? But like, Will Ospreay is one of their top stars. They've done business with Okada. They've done business with Jay White. Like, I'm sure they're happy not having to go through the office to get dates on these guys, where they can just do whatever the fuck they want to do with them the way they want to, you know, which is, they want stars. They took the stars. They got the stars. Now they can do what they want with them. Like, it's mostly upside for them.
Yeah. Discord Daddy says, do we think Bowen Yang from Saturday Night Live listens to Kiss?
If he's a smart New Japan fan, probably. I don't know. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with Bowen Yang. I thought that was really cool. And I saw him on Saturday Night Live, and I'm a big fan of Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, he's cool.
I heard he did great. But I don't personally know Bowen Yang. I think I'll probably look more into him. From what I understand, he's very funny, and he's a big New Japan fan. And, you know, I know that some of the other like podcasts out there are like fucking freaking out, and they want to get him on their show and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know. If he's cool, he's probably listening to us. You'd be surprised the people that listen to us, honestly.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So if he is, shout out to Bowen Yang.
Yeah, shout out. Representing. Big ups.
Rainbow Slam Pig says, I was recently watching Vader vs. Hansen from 1991, where Vader had to pop his eye back in about 5 minutes into the match and keep fighting. Other than Hanare fighting through brain damage in the dog pound cage match, what is the modern NJPW equivalent of the most out of control example of a tough guy fighting through adversity to finish a match?
It's got to be Hiromu breaking his neck and then still finishing the match and winning.
Yeah, that's one of them. I was thinking about Shibata, that headbutt.
Yeah, except for that's true. Except for the after effects, really. We don't know. We don't know exactly what he was going through in the match, but like the from the reports, the effects of the hematoma took effect after the match. So that's,
that's true.
thing.
Yeah.
There was another one I was trying to think of that was pretty gnarly. Obviously, Danielson breaking his arm at Forbidden Door and finishing the match and winning it. That was that's got to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, what Hanari went through, putting some dirt in the fucking wound and wrapping that shit up and coming back out to play. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not necessarily modern, but Rick Rude getting his what are they called? What are the back joints in your spine called?
Oh, like disc.
Yeah, he got his discs fucking, like, two of them, like, fucking blown out by Sting, and still managed to gut his way. And I mean, that was not that deep into the match. Like, it was pretty early, off of a Sting dive, and he fucking hit the, because I don't remember exactly where they are. I think it's like Fukuoka Dome or something like that, maybe Sumo Hall, but they had the elevated stage. And he fell back on the elevated stage and blew out his discs, and he still gutted it out, finished the match, came off the top rope, did all his shit. But you can see he's in pain the whole time, and he never wrestled again.
Yeah, that was his last match. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally blew up his back, and that was fucking crazy. Steve Austin broke Chono's neck in a new. That's another thing. A lot of people don't talk about that. Like everyone talks about Steve Austin getting his neck broken by Owen Hart at SummerSlam 97, but a lot of people don't know that Steve Austin broke Chono's neck with the exact same move several years prior in New Japan.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but yeah, in modern times, I mean, the gutsiest thing I could probably think of, would be the Hiromu broken neck. But there's different kinds of like Vader, that thing with him popping his eyeball back in, and after he broke his orbital, that's more of a cosmetic thing. Not to say that it's, I mean, obviously that's really serious, and it could get infected, exasperate. He could lose an eye. Who knows? But like Hiromu could have died.
Yeah.
So they're kind of different.
Yeah. Next question here from Too Much Kit says, what do you lads make of NJPW seemingly cutting down on having multiple big events across a tour, just having one big marquee culmination? Example, Destruction Tour last year only having the one bigger building and culminating in Kobe, and the New Beginning Tour this time around not running any bigger Sapporo shows and just having one big Osaka show. I think it's smart business to get those shows back as appointment viewing and stacking a card rather than splitting a lot of key matches over several cards and having a weaker undercard.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to say. I mean, you spelled it out in your question. I think that's a good question, and yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've talked about for a long time on the show of like, all right, why do we have these, 4 nights of New Beginning and whatever? Like, yeah, just do one big show and like, look at Osaka. Like, they're selling out. They have a lot of big, interesting matches on the card, and it's doing a great house. Then last of the questions here from Def Triangle 720. He says, with the way that things are going in New Japan's booking of their big shows, do you think them shortening the tour to stay up with each big show with more important bouts and less multi-man matches? We kind of talked about that already. And he also asked,
what was his question?
With the way things are going in New Japan's booking of their big shows, do you think them shortening the tour to stay up each big show with more important bouts and less multi-man matches?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we pretty much answered that. I just wanted to make sure I understood what he was asking there.
Then he also asked, with how many talent on the roster and the New Japan Cup only being 9 days, do you think New Japan will have a shorter bracket this year?
Not necessarily, but very likely, but not necessarily. Like, you could have hypothetically a comparable amount of tournament matches just taking place on a condensed number of shows.
Right. You could have a card where it's a full card of tournament matches instead of like 2 and a bunch of multi-mans.
Right.
So yeah, so we'll have to see.
That would be so great. It would.
Yeah.
Every year when we're going over the best shows of the year, it's never New Japan Cup because it's always just like the 2 matches and then
The finals.
a bunch of road 2 matches underneath. And it'd be nice if like we had a full evening of actual meaningful singles matches.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for the questions. Do you have anything for recommended match of the week?
So I didn't put this out there last week, but I wanted to make this the recommended match of the week. And it's easy enough because you've already seen the match and I know you probably have thoughts on it, but this week I went ahead and I watched Chris Jericho versus Tomohiro Ishii from November, which was within our grading period. That was from Dynamite, I think the 26th of November, and they fought over the ROH title. And Jeremy, I got to ask you, what the fuck happened here?
Dude, it's this weird shift of the AEW fan base. Like that diehard AEW hardcore wrestling fan, even in Chicago, is not showing up to these shows. Like they have this weird kind of new audience that's been coming in that they don't react to a match like this.
Yeah, dude. Like I was so confused because I was watching the match and I'm noticing that the crowd is just not reacting at all to the action. And I'm like, where the fuck were they? Like, did they do this in like, Montana or Iowa or some shit? And then I'm like, Chicago, Illinois? Like, Chicago used to be like, that's their home. Like, that's where the hardcores live. Like, what are we? Holy shit. And that's the same city where they did it the first time. And it's weird because on the one hand, I thought the action was really, 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 really good. But I am somebody that is of the opinion that the action between the ropes, devoid of the reaction from the live audience, doesn't just make a match great in and of itself. Like with wrestling being a quasi performance art that is, heavily leaning on the reactions from the crowd to create the atmosphere, to create the reactions for the performers to read off of. In a certain sense, I kind of felt like the match was bad. Not because of what they were doing in the ring was bad at all, but because the audience never reacted and the performers never audibled in any way from the story that they intended to tell. They're like, we're going to get this chop fest, strong style, fighting spirit battle off no matter what the fuck you guys think. And I'm sure there's probably people at home that really appreciated that are fans of it. But because the crowd was literally just almost dead silent and just not with it, I was like, this is one of the weirdest like viewing experiences. Like it's like I'm seeing a great match in front of me with an audience that doesn't give a fuck about it whatsoever, and thereby makes it not a great match because the lack of reaction means that the performers haven't entertained the crowd. They haven't found a way to connect with the crowd. They're not getting any kind of response. And it's just bizarro world.
Yeah. I had the same exact thoughts as you. Yeah, I thought the match, from an in-ring standpoint, like for me, for Jeremy Donovan, like I enjoyed the match. I think the first one was probably better. But I thought it was...
I don't even know if it was. Because the first one had such great reactions. That might just be what made... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like... I don't know if Jericho actually, I feel like he might have used a blood capsule or whatever, but if not, like his mouth bleeding and the slaps that he was taking, like this was in some ways more violent than the first match.
Yeah. But I mean, I enjoyed this matchup, but yeah, the crowd reactions the whole time was so weird. And like, we're starting to see that in some of the TV tapings for AEW. It's like, yeah, they're not drawing that diehard hardcore wrestling fan anymore. They're kind of getting these quote unquote casual, just pro wrestling fan that loves more of a WWE style thing. And then, yeah, they see a Jericho Ishii and they're just kind of like, okay. And they don't know Ishii. They don't know some of these, top international guys are bringing in. It's really weird.
Yeah, that was super duper duper weird. And I feel like if you piped in audience noise, that match probably hits.
Yeah,
or if it had taken place in Japan, that match probably really hits. But for whatever reason, and I don't even blame the only thing I blame the performers for is not being in tune with what the crowd wanted. And I'm also wondering, like, is this an anti-Jericho thing?
It could be. I know a lot of people kind of want him out of there and want him to wrap things up, but
I'm like, what the fuck is that? That is so weird. But because it's so I can't give it like a recommended match of the week. Although I think it's very interesting viewing. Like, if you want to see something weird with guys going out there and beating the piss out of themselves and getting just no response and never changing their tactics, but just sticking to their guns and telling their story, and the crowd just not give it. There's one point I remember there's like 3 guys. They try a fight forever chant, and it's just the 3 of them. And I'm like, oh, it's so bad.
Fight forever.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah, I felt bad because those guys really worked really, really, really hard. For this week, for recommended match of the week, there's and I'll get the date for you, but there is a Rocky Romero versus Flip Gordon match from Arena Mexico, and it's pretty highly rated. I think it's like from December, maybe November, December, and we got access to it, so I feel like we should check that one out. It's got a really good rating. So,
all right, cool. Is there anything else out there that we need to check out?
I'm sure there is. I mean, for this year, especially since Takeshita is he signed, but he's also active in AEW. That's probably someone to keep an eye on. I think Mercedes, she's champion. Got to keep an eye on her. The 2 matches that she had with Chris Statlander, they're both in our grading period, and they're probably, I've got them on the ballot for recommended, excursion match this year, because they probably need to be.
Yeah. All right, so we'll check out Rocky and good old Flip Gordon there from CMLL. And that's going to wrap things up for us here this week. So next week, we'll be back to review the Night 3, Night 4 of Road to the New Beginning and continue to talk about stuff as we build to the New Beginning in Osaka. And if you want to watch our show live, remember you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/KI Strong Style. That's where you can watch the show live, get the show without ads, and get bonus content. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style and at SocialSuplex and at Jeremy L. Donovan. On Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/SocialSuplex and follow us on the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group. On Reddit, I'm the Pro Black Guy. And Josh is Keeping a Strong Style. On YouTube, we are at Social Suplex. Join our Social Suplex Discord server. Interact with us and other wrestling fans. And you can email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com. Check out all those shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio with Rich Latta and James Boyd. All Things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps WWE Adventure with The Implications with Matthew Mayer. Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Tone Talk with Ali and Aaliyah. And the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review, and we will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Ichiban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
cooler?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.